Hey, welcome to On Location. My name is Todd Sullivan. Behind the camera is Kelsey Bell, and we are right now at the Pavilion Theatre in Kamloops, about to chat with some people from the Kamloops Players. You're spinning the camera already. We got people on the phone lines here desperately calling people to say, hey, come see this show. And then we're going to meet with these people over here. Hey guys!
Hey.
Hello!
Let's just go down and introduce ourselves here. We've got
Hi, I'm Dan Ondang. I directed The Murder of Arthur Wong and also wrote it and also wrote some of Alan's 9 Murders.
Hello, my name is Marta Oraniewicz. I do a lot of things with the Kamloops Players. I'm the communications person sometimes, I guess. Also, I'm in his show.
The Murder of Arthur Wong.
The Murder of Arthur Wong, yes.
because they're both kind of partly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name's Keenan Carey, and I'm playing Virgil in The Murder of Arthur Wong. I don't do anything else because being that awful of a person is too much for me.
Wow, that got dark. But we're awful people too, so don't worry.
Only Virgil.
Yeah.
Wait till you see the show.
Okay.
You'll be like, oh, this guy's bad.
So obviously, you may not want to give away too much, but it does feel like just that introduction has maybe prompted room for conversation about what these plays are about. They both seem to have the word murder in them. That seems objectively true.
Why so dark?
Because it's called Fall Into Drama with the Kamloops Players, so you gotta drama it up a little bit. Also, because audiences like when you tell them there's gonna be murder, and then they don't know that there isn't any until they have tickets already. They have to see the shows to find out that
there's no murder?
There's not any, you won't see any murders if that's what you're worried about. Yeah.
Do you think murder can be funny? Is it supposed to be funny or sad or what's this?
So I can tell you, The Murder of Arthur Wong, I think it ends on a funny murder. I think there's the funny murder, like I said, you won't see it, but when you read the title, you'll be like, oh, that's a funny murder.
And which one was this one?
This is The Murder of Arthur Wong.
The Murder of Arthur Wong.
Short show at the start.
Okay. So can you, any of you, I guess, give a brief synopsis of both of these shows?
So there are two shows, as we've figured out by now. The first one is The Murder of Arthur Wong. It's very short. It's like 15 minutes, at most 20. I'd be surprised if it was 20 minutes. And it's the dystopian universe where you have to apply to the government to die.
Whoa.
Yes.
What a cool thing.
Paperwork has to be filed, everything has to be in order, stamped and approved. Otherwise, death is just unfortunately a bit impossible. We're a big fan of the dark comedy with these productions.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there is no intermission because it's only, 15 minutes. And so the second show starts, which is called Alan's 9 Murders. There is an intermission. Don't worry. It'll be in the middle of that show because that's like a feature length, full length play. And in that one, we have Alan, of course, the title character. He's a telemarketer who deals with a crisis of conscience and decides to do cold calls for the suicide hotline.
So let's just focus on The Murder of Arthur Wong. Tell us about it. How long have you been working on this?
We've been in rehearsal maybe 2-3 months, maybe 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
3 months. This guy wrote the thing.
We had auditions for this, for both these shows together, and we had lots of great people come out.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get to be so choosy, and nice that myself and the other director kind of had to get together and have a meeting of the minds so that we don't cast someone in both, because it would be way too much work for that person. And we both were able to work out casts that we're very happy with, because so many people came out.
Right. Do you ever have actors that are willing to do any part, or are they in there specifically for one part?
At these auditions, we had, I think, mostly actors that were like, "Oh yeah, pretty much put me wherever."
Yeah.
A couple of people that are like, "Well, I've sort of fit this role from the roles you've posted. This is kind of the one that suits me best." And we generally were like, "Yeah, yeah, you're right."
I guess to continue with you, since this is your first experience with this role or with this show.
And the Kamloops Players itself, yeah.
For sure. And it sounds like it is kind of a darker role. Mm-hmm. Was there anything that you felt challenged to kind of connect with in the character? I love these laughs because I feel like there's an answer here.
There's meaning behind it.
They want to spoil.
Exactly.
I feel like Dan was trying to acclimatize me. It's a little bit boiling a frog. We started the show and he was saying, come on in. This is Virgil. You're fulfilling your function. And then a little bit later he was saying, so anyways, there's perhaps more reasons behind what you're doing, and then perhaps you can be ever so slightly slimier in that line, and then bit by bit he made me into a kind of hunched over wretch that is just horrible in every aspect. I feel like I might have perhaps ran away very fast if he had brought that out at the beginning. But by the end of it, no, I can just naturally slide into the role of this slime bag.
Well, that's interesting to hear about that kind of approach. The whole boiling frogs thing works. Is the takeaway, I guess.
Yeah, it helped me kind of gag down the character. But no, it's lovely. I don't know why I tend to be cast as these wretches. The last big play. The last big play I was in, I was actually performing in it with the person who had become my wife, and the two of us were in a British comedy where the two of us were playing a married couple, and my character was attempting to sleep with her character's sister-in-law. Led to some interesting conversations. I don't know why people cast me in these kinds of roles, but I'm just happy to be involved.
For sure, for sure. And maybe one day you'll uncover the reason for that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, so far, what has been like the highlight of the last few months, and what has been like the low light?
Oh.
I want to hear it all. I want to hear the highs and the lows. Yeah. No? Or you?
I'll talk. Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
Sure. I'll talk.
Yeah.
Who's your least favorite actor in this?
Three of us.
So I think a major highlight for me was seeing the set today. Oh yeah. And call in now to buy your tickets. This set is so cool. And then, well, that's a piano, Kelsey. For the other show, that's not even in our half. This set is so cool, and then I was like, oh man, I really can't visualize this set during the rehearsal process. So our whole show takes place at those two desks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So your show is right there.
It's bang on right there. Very little happening elsewhere.
Does the other show utilize that as well as everything else?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah, the other show uses the whole thing.
Okay, interesting.
So
they're both in kind of like an office setting.
Yeah.
I did come up with a highlight and a low light. I've been thinking.
Oh, good.
My low light is that our show is so short. 15 minutes, right? So, we're in rehearsal for 2-3 months, and I'm sitting there thinking, we're doing a lot of work with like our backstories, our relationships, and with our characters, but the audience only sees, 12 minutes, 15 minutes of that kind of thing. So I do leave every rehearsal thinking, oh man, why didn't the playwright make it longer?
Give me more lines.
Yeah, give me more lines, come on. But my highlight, reverse of that, is working with my director and playwright. I think that's really unique because a lot of the time you get a script, the playwright is nowhere near where you
they're
are.
dead.
Maybe they're long gone, right? And I'm always kind of curious, why did the playwright write it that way? What did they mean? Did they have a vision that's different from the director? And in my case, it's the same person, which is very interesting to me. I tend to bombard Dan with a lot of questions, being like, why'd you do this?
And I'm like, because there's got to be a line there.
Yeah, so
You got to make times you can get changed.
My follow-up question was whether or not any of those answers you get from the writer are disappointing. Like, why did you write that? And he just goes, I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
I will say that he's quite funny because I'll be like, explain this line to me, and he'll just kind of say, well, you can forget about what the playwright said. Listen to me now.
With the shorter length of the play, do you find it as performers? Is it hard to sort of get into the character when there's like a limited number of pages for you to kind of suss out who these people are, or is it even difficult for you to feel like you're properly portraying who these people are with, again, so few pages in which to embody the character?
I don't think so. I think that when it came to the rehearsal up until this point, up until like Dan would begin most rehearsals by asking us a couple of questions about the characters. Why do you think they're doing X? Why is this happening? What's going on there? And there would be discussion and working through these things in order to figure them out. And with months of practice, you're able to really sink into who someone is and try to convey them properly. I mean, just because you don't interact with someone for a particularly long time doesn't mean they're not a complex person. So
True.
Getting to do it for a short period of time, they're still going to be there, whether or not you're there for long.
There was something that you said to me one day, if you remember what that was. It was a similar question that I was kind of like, oh, it's so short. Like, we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes, a lot of backstories that it's not, written in the script. But you said something along the lines that the audience will get it, that we're doing a lot of work for the audience to be able to read the subtext and read our characterization a little bit. So even though it's so short, they should feel like they've also known the characters for 2 to 3 months. That's the hope, I think, right?
Exactly.
That we do a good enough job to get that through.
And Dan, as a writer or director, do you have a preference for either shorter plays or longer plays?
I usually actually have a preference for longer plays. But something I noticed directing this short play is because it's short, there's nothing that's unimportant. It's all, we have one scene, you have 2 scenes, right, Marta? And even those 2 scenes, you really see an arc and fall of the character. Yeah. And you're on stage for all of 5 minutes.
Less.
Yeah.
Wow, that's chaotic.
If you're in an audience and you see the actors on stage and there's like they just had a big fight backstage, but they're doing their lines exactly how they always have, you'll know.
There'll be a vibe, yeah.
Exactly. And if you're having fun and you are engaged in the emotions that your characters are going through are coming from a genuine place, then everyone's going to know as well. So I feel like Dan's done a lot of encouraging that genuine kind of acting in what we're doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I do think that, yeah, definitely one of the cool things potentially about theater is the way that every performance is unique and kind of almost like an organic thing that exists between the actors and the audience, right? That quite often they'll be actors respond to the energy that the audience has or doesn't have, and vice versa. And you can get, 2 people who've seen a same show on 2 different nights can have 2 very different experiences. Do you guys have any thoughts on how to, whether that's a good thing, whether that's a bad thing, whether, you'd like to see it like more similar across all performances? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think that's part of the beauty of theater is that it's there's the relationship between the audience and the actors and what's going on backstage, and it's you're there in the room, the people are there, they are experiencing something with you, and so I think that if we just draped a massive screen in front of the audience and then put on the projector and did our rehearsal in front of them, it would be awful. I mean, the point of it is to have a person in the room with you who's like, while we're acting, we're also experiencing it.
Yeah.
Like Dan's encouraging the emotions to be genuine. There's something there between us all. So having that variation, I think, is just part of the beauty.
Yeah, this to be honest, this is sort of this is the kind of theater I prefer. The more intimate between the performance and the audience is always more interesting to me.
Can you enlighten me? I'm not sure what you mean. Is it because like this isn't like a stage?
Yeah, there's not as much of a disconnect between where the performances are happening and where the audience is.
Like Sagebrush Theater is like.
Yeah,
way
it does
more-
have a very big, it does have a big stage.
Oh, okay,
But
yeah.
then it's also a much larger venue, so like the seats go up quite a bit more, and there's a greater percentage of the audience that is, I think, to some extent disconnected from the show just by virtue of being so far away from it.
And you
Yes.
say you prefer this type of
Absolutely.
theater.
Yeah, whenever I'm in a smaller theater like this and I'm in the audience, I always get those intrusive thoughts when the show is going on. I'm like, I could just stand up and join them right now.
You could, right? You could.
I'm like,
What are they gonna do?
that's how I know a show is really good. If I'm sitting in the audience and I'm actually like focusing on the story, but if I'm sitting there thinking, what if I just stood up right now and I went on the stage too? Like
I
I
could
could.
improve this show if I went and participated.
It's always great to hear your co-star say, every now and then I thought, I could just ruin this. Yeah. I could just take this entire production.
I think it sounds like it's coming from a place of wanting to improve it, not ruin it, right? I'm not enjoying the show. What it needs is more me, a random person from the audience.
I'm so,
Okay, so it's about time to change up our people. So,
Goodbye.
no, before the abrupt goodbye, any last words before you go?
Thanks so much for coming and having us on. Come see the show.
Now it's goodbye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
thank you.
See you.
Thank you. And now we've got a new group of people coming. Just passing the microphone on.
Yeah, who wants to be? Yeah, there you go.
I guess. Prince.
Okay, yay! You want me in the middle? Oh,
You in the
before we
middle.
do that, we must.
Hey guys, let's introduce ourselves down the line here.
I'm Zach Fernstrom. I'm directing Alan's Nine Murders.
Sweet.
I'm Laurel Brewer. I play Greg in Alan's Nine Murders.
Okay.
My name is Hannah Allen, and I play Alan in
Excellent.
Alan's Nine Murders.
All right. So, tell us about the show.
Sure, I guess I know about it. Yeah. It's about Alan, who works at a call center and then gets it in their head that they're annoying all these people and think they're committing atrocities, so they try to make up for it by doing good and volunteering at the suicide hotline.
Okay.
And it's funny. Suicide isn't funny,
No,
but
the show is funny.
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's funny. Laurel laughs all the time in rehearsal, so.
It's dark humor, but I'm twisted anyway.
How was the casting process? How did that go?
This pretty much the same as what Dan said. We sat on the auditions together and saw lots of great people. It was some really hard choices to make and some very easy choices to make based on who we saw. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Couldn't have asked for more.
Nice.
What is your background with theater and with directing? Is this the first time you've directed, or do you have a long history with it, or?
I've directed at TRU before. Okay. That's where I got started in theaters through their theater program. And then since then, I've done theater all over with all sorts of companies, Chimera Theater, Project X, Independent, at the Hydra Festival, all the time.
Do you prefer to be behind the scenes, or do you like to be on stage, main character guy?
So my biggest issue is when I do one thing, I want to do the other. If I'm directing, I want to be acting and stage managing.
Isn't that funny?
If I'm stage managing, I want to do the other two, so.
Yeah. I understand that pain. Like, I want to play on all sides of the camera and the creative process. I started off as, no one's asking me this, but I'm just telling you anyway. I started off as a makeup artist, and I felt like I was lying to myself because I wanted to do that, and I wanted to do that, and I wanted to do set design and all that. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying about, when you do this, you want to do that too. It's hard to stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the actors go, do either of you, or are either of you like, I wish I wasn't acting right now, I wish I was doing this other job?
No, not so much.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite, is being an actor. I've done a little bit of directing when I was at TRU, at the TRU Theatre, but I prefer acting, and it's nice to work with Zach, because Zach and I have very similar background, because we both went to TRU Actors Workshop Theatre, so it's kind of like being back there in a way. Like there's some similar approaches coming through, and
Same
that's
language.
been an interesting, similar language. So it's been fun to do that.
Was there anything in particular with either of you that drew you to participating in this show in particular?
For me, I actually saw the show when it was first done at TRU, so I had a little bit of familiarity with it, but I didn't super remember the plot. Like, it was quite a few years ago, but I do remember really enjoying it and just like laughing lots, and I thought it would be exciting to audition and see if I could potentially be in the show or potentially be in the other show. I was definitely open to any part. So yeah, it was very exciting to end up being cast as Alan.
How about you, Laurel?
I had taken a 3-year hiatus from 21 there, and so I got back into acting and with the players in the spring play, and I just saw this and I thought, well, I'll give it a shot, see what happens, and I got a role.
What do you know?
Darn it, hey?
That's how it happens.
Yeah.
Were you excited?
Yeah.
Was that a difficult mindset to find yourself in when you're playing that
Unfortunately, no.
character? Oh, okay.
No, I've had problems over the years,
For sure.
but I'm better now.
Okay, that's good. We're all glad to hear that. And I apologize for asking that question.
But yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is bring laughter into the hard topics
Totally,
in life. Yeah, winter is a hard time for a lot of people, and I wish we had a suicide hotline ready just because we're on that topic, but it is, it is a very serious thing that happens to many, many people, and even the really super funny, happy people, even.
Oh,
988.
988. There we go. Apparently, if you are thinking about suicide or struggling with suicidal thoughts, dial 988. Or
Come here and laugh.
and laugh. Hannah, I did want to follow up with you because you said you had seen this show before, and this was a question I meant to ask, or I was trying to ask earlier when it was irrelevant. But is it challenging to try to bring something new or something unique to yourself to something that you've already seen and might have, an idea in your head of what it was?
I think in a way, yes, but I feel like I'm lucky, and what's interesting is that I'm actually the first woman to play this character.
Oh, okay.
So I think because of that, there's a lot of differences just because of that. So I don't feel like I am challenged to make it different from previous versions I've seen, but I definitely think it's still a challenge to bring all that I can to the character and make sure the character feels authentic.
Sure.
And it's been interesting to be the first woman playing this character and to see how that kind of has evolved. And then we had a chance to talk to the playwrights as well and to see what they think, because they've done the play with a man being in this role before and never a woman. So it's been interesting to hear what they thought.
Yeah. So Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll hold it for you. Okay. It does really change a lot of the dynamics. As far as the yelling goes, there's this one scene with this other character who is Jill, so a woman, and they have an argument. and now it's not a woman yelling at a man, so now it's a woman yelling at a woman. So you actually get angrier at Jill than in the previous time I've seen it, because it's a different power dynamic.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's hard to remember. It's been so long in a pandemic since the last 2 times. We had a lot of great people audition, but it frankly came down to a couple of people that could handle the role.
Yeah.
And Hannah was the one.
Nice.
Yeah, girl.
There are
It's
a lot
true.
of lines.
It is 44 very dense pages, and Hannah says something on most of
wow.
them,
Yes.
for most of the pages.
That would
There's
give
no
me anxiety.
leaving. There's no leaving this.
Hannah's on stage
Which is interesting.
the entire time.
I've never been in a show where I was in every scene and never like going off stage to change or like letting the other characters come on. Like, so it's been an interesting challenge in that way too, because you're kind of on for the hour, and I guess there's an intermission, but the 40 minutes or whatever, you're really locked in. Even like transitions, I'm still on stage during transitions, and I'm changing my costume on stage. So it's really, really like immersive for me. Of course, all theater is, but I feel like I have to be very aware and very locked in. And what is also interesting is so much of the play is on the phone call.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
not
So it's a
necessarily
lot of like
looking.
just you're doing lines and you
Yeah.
don't hear the other side?
Well, we hear them,
Okay.
but we're not looking at each other. Like we're in a different spaces.
Okay.
So that's interesting too, because in most of the shows I've been in, like the dialogue is, you're in the same place, you're looking at each other. So when you can't see the other actor, you almost have to be, like I said, even more locked in, because you're just going off of their voice, and your relationship is completely over the phone. So that's been an interesting challenge.
What is your biggest maybe either fear when you're on stage, or like what is the one sort of faux pas that you maybe did once on stage that you never want to do again? That kind of thing.
Todd was in his underwear once on stage, by the way.
I mooned an audience.
You mooned.
Yeah.
On purpose?
Yeah, I was in Marcus. I had to. I mooned the
saw
audience.
that.
No.
I don't know if I can top that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Well, it's not a
good.
competition, but
I think, anytime you feel like you messed up a line or missed a line, like that's the biggest fear. I know for me, it's even more so because I think when you're acting and you make a mistake, probably not very many people notice it, but you notice it.
Yeah.
And then you go off at the end of your scene, and then you can kind of have your, oh, that was too bad moment. But for me, because I don't leave the stage for the whole play, it's like you make a mistake, you gotta keep going. Don't get yourself into a negative mindset. Like, stay in character and just do your best. So,
She says that like she makes mistakes.
thank you.
She
I
doesn't.
appreciate that.
she
I
doesn't.
appreciate that.
I guess one thing I could say is things that are out of your control scare me a little bit.
right.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know, we were just talking about this years ago. Me and Hannah did a show at TRU where the fire alarm went off,
Oh wow.
and we had to finish the show outside.
In the winter.
You did finish it.
We finished it. We had one scene left.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
It was not super fun in the time, but really cool to
Like a real
look
special
back and
moment.
say
Yeah.
we did it. The show must go on, like literally in that sense.
That's pretty cool. Now, is this a musical?
So it's not a musical, but I do have a live pianist throughout Alan's Nine Murders.
Oh, interesting. So are they playing like supporting music, or how does that work?
Yeah, mostly transitions, but some other spots as well.
Okay.
And they're fantastic. Her name is Tanya. She's done a great job. And
Hey, Tanya, great job.
Hey, Tanya. All right, let's just no.
No? Or someone?
You want to leave?
Do I still have to stay?
Bye.
I guess.
You're trying to ditch out before the stream is done. I'm going home. Bye, guys. Yeah. So let's
Yes.
talk about the Kamloops Players.
The Kamloops Players, just in general, we are the oldest community theater in Kamloops. We are 57 years old.
Wow.
Yes, 57 years old, and I just want to emphasize that we're volunteers. Nobody is getting paid to be here. If you buy a ticket, nobody told Laurel. If
Our job to do that. Sorry, it's on you.
If you buy a ticket to come see the show, you are supporting us as a society, right? So we're putting on more shows with the money that we get from other shows. And your question about getting involved. So we do 2 shows every year. Sometimes we do a 3rd show, but our season is a spring into comedy, usually in April, and of course the fall into drama in the fall, November, whatever time. So those are the best times to reach out to us to see if we need volunteers, either backstage. Couple months before that is when you want to start looking out for auditions. We currently have auditions up next week.
Tell us about that.
Oh, do you want to talk about this?
Well, okay. I got roped into directing the spring play. It's called Halfway There by Norm Foster. And so I have auditions next week, the 2nd, 5th, and 6th.
Okay.
All the information is on our website, kamloopsplayers.ca. We welcome everyone from all experiences, all skill levels.
I love that.
That's kind of our purpose as a society, is to encourage you to just try it. If you don't like it, great. That's also good. If you love it, great. Keep coming.
Yeah. And I think that's a good message, because I do think that there are people out there who maybe want to get involved, but just feel like I wouldn't know where to begin. I've got no experience. I'm dumb, stuff like that. Sorry.
You're not dumb.
No, thank you, Kelsey. But like, it doesn't matter. Like, if somebody wants to come out and participate, you guys will find a place for them. They'll be welcomed.
We want to end on a positive note.
We're not sure what the positive note is. But
Murder!
Come see the murder of people or not people. The murder of Ellen Wong and, right? Is that right? Murder Arthur Wong. The murder. Hey, they're both A names, okay? I did okay. The murder of Arthur Wong and Alan's 9 murders.
1 week only.
1 week only. Wow.
1 week
Amazing.
only. So now's your chance.
If you don't get these tickets now, you will be sad and disappointed that you didn't get to check these murders out. Thanks, guys, for sitting down with us.
Thank you very much,
And putting
Todd,
up with us.
Kelsey. Thank you.
Goodbye. We'll see you next time.